driving segment for the SL 600. All right, give it a go. All right. All right. All right, my friends, we're behind the wheel now of the SL 600, the V12. This is the king, baby. Okay, I mean, the AMGs that they made are technically the king, but if you're looking for something here in North America, this is going to be it, because finding an actual real AMG, it's impossible. So you're going to be looking at one of these, and if you've got the budget for the V12, this is definitely the way to go. Now, when we're sitting in here, again, there are some differences. I can feel it right away. Obviously, the interior is laid out more or less the same, but yeah, steering wheel is older. We do have the leather wrap dashboard, and because we have the hard top on this one, it gives me a slightly different experience on the inside here. You can hear a little bit of the leather rubbing in the back as we go over some of the bumps, but for the most part though, it is nice and quiet in here. Now, one of the things I noticed when I got in here is essentially the seating is exactly the same, and you would hope that it's basically the same car, right? This is just like a pre-second, third facelift kind of vehicle. So the inside here is going to feel more or less the same, and it does. I mean, seatbelt is pretty tight for a big guy like me. Yeah, they're kind of awkward to get on, but for the most part, the seating position is the same. Seat comfort is also really good. You've got these really nice perforated seats. That's one of the changes that came with the newer facelift that we had in the other one. And again, steering wheel, things like that, exterior, some changes there, but for the most part, you're getting more or less the same type of experience, but you've also got that V12, and that's what you're looking for with a car like this. If we think about the V8 being really smooth and comfortable and quiet on the road, this is that with more power, more cylinders, but it's not about performance, because yeah, I mean, on paper this has almost 100 horsepower more, and if we put it down, oh yeah, I mean, yeah buddy, you can tell that there's a difference there, but it's so quiet and so reserved compared to what you would expect the V12 of modern era, or at least the last generation of these modern V12s would be, because this again isn't meant for raw, untamed performance. It's about just cruising. It's having that engine that is so smooth. With more cylinders, it runs more efficiently, it runs smoother. So it isn't necessarily about having more power. In this case, it really is about having that smooth luxury experience. And I'll always equate luxury experience with a V12 when it comes to something like a Mercedes-Benz, because that's essentially what it is. If you're looking for the ultimate driving experience when it comes to a roadster or any type of luxury vehicle, you got to go with the V12. That's it. There's nothing else that compares to having that many cylinders. And the other thing that you notice too when you're driving this is it does feel heavy. And I'm not talking about the weight, but it is true. I mean, the steering is a little heavier on this, and the overall feel of the car does feel heavier because, I mean, you got a bigger engine in it, but it's just something about the way that Mercedes builds these V12s. It just feels solid. I mean, it feels like a tank. And not that the SL50 and not that the SL500 didn't, but there's just like another level when it goes up to the V12. So it's it's hard to explain. You really got to drive them, and I'm so happy to actually be able to do these back to back, so I can actually see how they do compare, literally side by side, one right after another, so I can really tell the difference between the two. The last time we did something like this was a very long time ago with my old E38 7 Series, and we met up with the V12, and we were able to see back to back how they compare. This very similar experience in terms of being able to see how they perform. And I gotta say, like, yeah, you kick it down. Obviously not gonna do full throttle here, but I mean, this thing picks up pretty quick, and only having 5 gears, it'll find the gear relatively quickly. So again, you're gonna be buying this because you want to cruise, and that is exactly what this car is designed for. Now, I could see myself, just as I did with the SL500 a couple minutes ago, taking this on a weekend cruise, having fun, enjoying it, but also being able to do this as a daily driver, because it is just so smooth, it is so quiet in here, comfortable. You know, obviously for me, I just got to work on myself to be able to fit in this car a little bit better, but that's a small note, but something important to know. You know, we don't always get the opportunity to talk about things like that, because in today's world, the seatbelts have a little bit more forgivingness to them, whereas, you know, on something like this, not quite as much. Yeah, one of the other major differences as we're sitting here at the stoplight, we do have the panoramic roof on this, which I think is fantastic. For a car like this, you know, it just lets in all the light. It does feel like you're driving a newer, modern vehicle that would have some sort of sunroof in here. The fact that it pretty much is completely open just changes the experience for this vehicle. So that's why this is such a good car to have, because you've got the extra added benefit of having both a soft and hard top that you can put onto this. So daily driving it, maybe you're going to keep the roof off, so you've got the convertible top there in case you need it. But something like this, if you wanted to drive it in the winter, again, I probably wouldn't recommend it here in Quebec, but I probably wouldn't recommend it here in Canada, but it depends on what you want to do. But you've got that option there, so having the flexibility is certainly key. I mean, I've just thoroughly enjoyed driving this over the last little bit here. It's great to see both side by side, so I can tell the difference. But you know, there is definitely something special about the V12. If you have the opportunity to buy the V12, you're not going to be disappointed. You know, obviously the maintenance is going to be higher, the fuel costs are going to be higher, the wear and tear, you know, these are going to cost more at service and whatnot. But for the most part, you know, anytime I'm doing research on these old Mercedes, there isn't anything that is really bad when it comes to overall reliability. These are always pretty solid vehicles, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But you know, you're gonna have to budget quite a bit more going with a V12. It's the one downside to it. But the benefits of owning a car like this, the benefits of owning this car, significantly outweigh those drawbacks, because you know, if you're budgeting in for a V12, it's well worth it. But I have enjoyed this car. Performs exactly how I would have expected it to. I mean, it just purrs. It's what's great. Like, this is what I want. When we did the S600 with these straight exhausts on there, it wasn't for me. This, absolutely perfect. Original in every way, and I'm absolutely loving it. I adore this car. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, this is the exact way Mercedes built it, and it's perfect just the way it is. Just gonna grab one quick photo, and then I think we're good. I don't wanna. Huh? Oh yeah.